Hello YouTube, this is Insane Monster, and this is What If Deku Had Anti-Venom Part 3. When we last left off, the test for the first hero test in Team Combat was completed with Deku winning, obviously. And we continued to where Aizawa steps up to the class saying that they have to pick a class rep. This obviously gets everybody hyped and everything. And similar thing happens in canon with uh, Deku being picked as class rep and Momo being vice rep. After that, they go back to lunch with the press still being out right in front of the school and a strange man just looking at them saying, we haven't been attacked yet, so I'm assuming this collar is working. A voice says, yes. Although it's frustrating, we can't do anything fun until our little show. The man stated, calm down. We we just need to get what we came here for, and then once we have that, we can go wild. Smirking evilly. While everybody's eating, the alarm goes off that there's an intruder. All the students begin to panic like in canon. But while they're being pushed around, the Deku, Toga, and the others use their powers to get over the crowd. Upon this, Deku sees that it's just the media with Mr. Aizawa and President Mike having some difficulties getting them to leave. So, Deku hurries up and uses his tendrils to stick to the walls and the ceiling to yell at everybody that it was just the press and to calm down. Which everybody did calm down and all that once they realized that they weren't being attacked. Though after that incident, the principal and along with some other teachers were concerned about what happened to the door being disintegrated into dust. Back at a bar where that same creepy guy, he says, we got what we needed. It's like putting papers down on the bar counter and then saying, and it yeah, and the collar was a success. We weren't detected at all. Unfortunately, we didn't detect any of the other symbiotes as well. If we did, we might have been able to take one or two out beforehand. A voice coming from a TV without a image of a person says, no, let them be for now. Once we kill the hosts, we can take the symbiote and increase our power even further. The man grinned, saying, yes, of course, Master. We, then the voice said, and it's the new collar on our on the project, combining the symbiote combining a symbiote with a little invention of ours with the doctor's help is going well. Then the doctor's voice chimes in, stating that the collar will destroy the symbiote if it rebels against them, and that it will react to a voice automatic control. All that he had to do was to say destroy the symbiote, and it will act as such to destroy it. And to be careful, this symbiote that we put into our little creation is not very cooperative with us. So if he gets too out of hand, just use it. The man the man with the chipped face said, "Of course, as you as you say, if he's difficult, we'll eliminate him." We continue over to where the students learn that they're going on a field trip kind of thing for their class today. They get on the bus and start talking. When someone stated that Izuku's strength was pretty impressive, and uh, Tsuyu mentioned that Izuku, Toga, and some of their other classmates' quirks seem somewhat similar, producing some form of semi-liquid that's able to take numerous forms. But Deku quickly stated that there's plenty of people with similar quirks but without any relations, so it isn't that uncommon. We keep going to where they get to the USJ and walk in. Once that happens, all of the symbiotes begin to sense get their spider sense thrown into overdrive and shoot up instantly. Aizawa's confused about what's up with them and why they look so serious until a portal opens up, releasing the League of Villains. We continue. Sorry. Aizawa's told them to stay back and get out of here. They were reluctant, but he ordered them and went and agreed to it against what they wanted, along with some of along with the symbiotes. Though Kurogiri did get in their way while Aizawa was dealing with the thug villains that weren't much of a threat to him in combat. Unlike uh, Kaminari and Bakugo lunge at him before the symbiotes do anything, knowing that with 13 about to use her black hole, it could be dangerous. But Kaminari and Bakugo just went on impulse, not hitting their target. Kurogiri hurried up and teleported everybody across the USJ. Now with Toga there, she ends up with Ojiro in the fire zone. Due to it being the fire zone, Ojiro can't use his symbiote sickle, though the increased strength of his body is still there. He just can't bring the symbiote out without it being damaged or affected by the flames. But Toga and Toxin are immune to fire. So working together, they're tearing up the villains pretty good. Not killing them, but giving them concussions and stuff like that. Deku still ends up in uh, this shipwreck zone, but this time when the villain goes to attack him, he transforms from his agent form to the more monstrous form. And symbiotes, if you take what we've seen from the Venom movie, if you haven't seen the Venom movie, I suggest you do go watch it, the live action Venom movie. And he's able to swim around quick enough to beat the villain before Shu gets to him, and then they both hurry up and get onto the boat. They take a look about what their situation is, seeing that it is not good. Same thing happens where Deku asks about their quirks, and like in canon, they tell Mineta, and Shu tells him what their quirks are, then formulates the same plan as in canon. He hurries up and jumps, going into the more monstrous form, charging up all of One for All 100% into his arm, creating the blasting the water to suck all the villains in while Mineta tosses the balls. And while this going on, Deku extends a tendril onto the boat that's in the middle of sinking and uses it to fling himself in the same direction as Sue and Mineta, landing in the water. As for the other areas, for instance, with Jiro, who has Mania, and Momo, who has Sleeper, they're using their tendrils to fight off the villains mostly. And Momo created two metal rods that are great for conducting electricity to give to Kaminari, charging, electrifying them to make basically stun batons, which is going pretty well. Momo's making darts with Sleeper, filling them up with some tranquilizer fluid, shooting out the stingers that she has as an addition to her hero costume here. While Jiro, who took in multiple similar speakers to the ones in her boot, as in canon, formed speakers on her hands, the same location as the boots in canon, as well as the ends on the tendrils to hit multiple targets, using her quirk through the symbiote and the tech that was absorbed into it, and the sound tech that was absorbed into it. Then, however, we switch over to Aizawa's fight, which where her, her I mean, which where the man known as Tomura with all those freaky severed hands latched onto his body said has enough. In this instant, a red symbiote begins to engulf him, along with all the hands that are across his body, revealing his symbioted face with the fangs, and though instead of like a ball cap, the symbiote, or instead of like a full mask making it look smooth around, the symbiote keeps the hair, along with transferring the abilities of his hands to use the K to all the other hands that he has all over his body, along with the blades that Carnage also forms, as with Carnage saying, if you didn't have these severed hands of your old relatives, then this little trick wouldn't be possible. But it may be odd, but it's quite useful. Charging right at Aizawa, he begins to dodge, with some of the blades hitting a number of their Tomura's so-called henchmen that came along. They started to run away, freaking out about not wanting to get hit. While all this craziness was going on, the same happens as in canon, with Ida getting out of there to go get help. But as Aizawa and Tomura, who is bonded to Carnage, are going at it, Aizawa is thinking, this guy has a similar ability as the others, as some of the others in my class. This is so annoying. And why isn't my quirk working on those tendrils? They're canceling out his decay, but they're not doing anything against what the form around him is. What the hell? Eventually, his eyes begin to dry up, and when he closes them, Carnage hurries and takes a blade to slice clean off, what Mr. Aizawa's left arm. Yelling in pain, he finds that the blade went in a lot more painfully due to the decay ability, decaying the wound at the end and not going any further. He fig Carnage saying, my blades cause way more pain now with your decay quirk, Tomura. But it doesn't seem to keep going with my blades the same as with the hands. Tomura states, it doesn't matter. We are invincible. On this, Tomura begins to state that with him like this, we can leave him to Nomu, and we can leave him to Nomu and Venom. He commands, Venom, deal with this guy. I'm going after the other symbiotes. He goes over to the water zone, with Tomura stating, crush his skull. Venom begins to engulf the Nomu, saying, fine. Rushing over to Aizawa, grabbing his head, slamming it into the ground. Tomura and Carnage smiled as they walked away, though, unbeknownst to him, it looked like Venom formed himself around Aizawa's head to protect it when it smashed into the ground. Aizawa was confused. Why did this guy disobey his boss's orders? Why did he fake his injuring him like this? Though this was done though Venom began to move his symbiote around, began to move himself to try to turn Aizawa's head to look at him, making an opening for his eye to look through. He knew if he said it out loud, then he knew from an explanation that the doc said that if any words are used to mention the caller, that it would instantly kill him. So Venom took his free hand and pointed at the collar. Aizawa understood what was going on. So I'm guessing that collar kills you if you disobey him. Figures. With this, he slowly begins to release Aizawa, and with his last bit of strength, Aizawa uses his leg to kick the collar in one of the main parts that sticks out, to power it and control it. Basically, he kicks it in the hardware, destroying the collar. Once that's done, Venom grabs Aizawa again, with him saying, so you're gonna kill me anyways. Venom begins to seep in a little bit into Aizawa and says, compatible. As the symbiote Venom begins to go into Aizawa, Tomura looks back, and at this time, that Deku and Sue and Mineta see what's going on. Take a look and see what's going on. Anti-venom mentioned, that's Venom. Deku says, no way. And what about the other guy? That's another spawnling of Venom, somewhat similar to me. Yeah, that's Carnage. Tomura hurries up and tries to rush at Venom and Aizawa, though he's interrupted by a kick from behind, right to the side of his head, from All for One Agent Anti-Venom Deku, blowing him to the side, with him saying, "Ah, damn, what the hell, Carnage? Why didn't we send him?" Carnage replied with, it's Anti-Venom. How annoying. I'm unable to he's one of the symbiotes I'm unable to detect. Even my spider sense can't even sense him attacking us. Tomura was annoyed by this, but by then, Venom finished up merging with Aizawa while he was leaving, tearing out and destroying the Nomu's brain. Once he was inside Aizawa, he talked to him, stating, "The damage done to you by Carnage and his host, Tomura, I cannot heal, even with the regenerative abilities I acquired from this Nomu creature. It seems as though the decay infused with the ability of a symbiote makes it impossible for a symbiote to regenerate damage done by it unless we were already bonded. But listen, if I don't fuse with you, if we don't become one, then you will die. The damage is starting to get worse, little by little. I can stop it completely and heal it to a point. However, I won't be able to regenerate your arms as a side effect of, like I said, the combination of that Tomura decay quirk and Carnage." Aizawa looked at him and said, "What do you want from me?" Venom just stated, "Nothing much. You become my host and I feed off the extra nutrients in your blood system, and you get enhanced strength and abilities, along with any abilities that I've acquired from previous hosts." Aizawa looked at him and said, "What?" Venom smirked, saying, "Yes. Besides the regeneration and shock absorption from that Nomu creature, along with the significant strength boost, I also have similar abilities to a spider." Aizawa remembered these kind of abilities from his students, saying, "Those kids have a lot to explain, but fine, go ahead, though I doubt I'll be much use in this fight with only one arm." Venom smirked, saying, "Don't worry. In one of my previous hosts, I actually worked as a substitute for his legs. I can do the same with your arm." Which Venom actually has done with in his when he was with Flash as Agent Venom. When Flash didn't have any legs, Venom would become like prosthetic legs made out of his symbiote body. Once the merge as a form, you see a more Aizawa looking spider more Aizawa outfit looking Venom outfit, keeping the hair and with a new Venom symbiote arm. Uh, Deku acts as anti-venom. Anti-venom, should we worry about this? Anti-venom stated, "Probably not. If he saved, it looks like he saved your teacher, for one, and secondly, I've heard Venom. I remember hearing that Venom went through the symbiote purge, purging any negative impulses he gained from past hosts. So he might be an ally, though no clue what he was doing with Carnage, or what that collar Aizawa broke off of him was. Though, when he broke it, I was finally able to sense venom. So, I'm guessing that it cloaks the present from us. As this happens, with the total of Aizawa now has Venom, and Venom is working as a substitute left arm. Nomu's dead, and Tomura's furious and begins to lash out. So, Aizawa, with his new strength, now bonded to Venom, is able to dodge them fairly easily, and is very happy about that, since he did not want any of that. And because he was bonded to Venom, he was able to use his quirk through Venom's eyes, which I don't think actually has to blink really, but what, or or maybe I'm not sure how their eyes quite work for the symbiotes. But, you know, as for anti-venom, he was able to take on the hits from the long distance at blades and stuff. Since anti-venom has a power to destroy symbiotes, Carnage began writhing in pain, attacking him. Chroma yelled out, "What's happening?" Carnage said, "It's anti-venom. Yeah, he's a unique kind of, he's not quite a normal symbiote. He has a power that allows him to destroy other symbiotes from a simple touch. Very annoying." At this time, All Might finally bursts in, and but and uh, Kurogiri finally comes by Tomura and Karn is saving. Things are looking bad. Our underlings are gone. Our weapon against All Might is gone, and All Might is here. Not to mention, it seems as though your symbiote is slightly being destroyed by that white symbiote. Carnage is furious, stating, "Ah, ah, how annoying." We continue, but once a wall burst from the fire zone, we see Toga in her Carnage form. I mean, in her monstrous female toxin form, come out along with Ojiro finally being able to shoot up. Since that shoot up with Sickle now that uh, he's not surrounded by fire anymore, along with others of their class that were arriving too. Symbiote, all the symbiote ones, along with the ones that they were with, and Bakugo, Kirishima, and Todoroki, which Tomura said, "Get us out of here." Kurogiri up did what he said. They were with anti-venom and venom saying, "No, don't let him leave." Aizawa and Deku tried to stop them, but they were too late. And as for all the other villains, the class, All Might, and Aizawa began to tear him up. I and Uraka yells out for Deku and asks for help. He hurries up and sees the lacerations on 13's back from Kurogiri's and 13's fight. He hurries up and extends his symbiote to begin to heal her, stating, "Don't worry, I can heal these wounds. It just takes a little bit." He talks. He thinks to Anti-Venom, asking how's he's holding up. Anti-Venom states that after destroying his arm like that and doing this, it isn't as bad as it could be. Luckily, I have my ability to destroy other symbiotes, and it seemed to can't made the extended effects of Carnage's host of decay to stop. But I can't say the same if he touched us with his host touched us with his actual hands. Still, it was pretty freaky looking. No kidding. Should we worry about Venom? It doesn't seem so, Izuku. It seems as though he was a captive of Carnage. Though there's not if Carnage had if Carnage had Venom on him with him, there's no telling what other symbiote the League of Villain has in their back pocket. It seems as though this was their first test run using anti-venom on some kind of freakish monster. So there's no telling what might happen. He sighs, saying that sucks. In the end, 13 was able to be healed up perfectly, and class of 1A, along with their teacher, and class 1B had to do a bit of a meeting since both of their classes had at least one person with a symbiote, and given this attack with the understanding that the enemy has a powerful symbiote and possibly others. After the incident, Aizawa reported to the principal, telling him what him and Venom knew, stating that Venom sensed two other symbiotes in the area that he was being tested on to create that collar. Though they were using the three of them to perform tests to make the collars. They aren't perfect though. At the moment, they conceal the symbiote from detection from other symbiotes, but it also blocks that one's ability to sense the symbiotes around them, which does give them somewhat of a leeway, since even though that they can't sense them, they can't sense that the heroes can't sense the villains with those. But it's the same with those collars, that the villains aren't currently able to sense the heroes, though it bothers them that they have two other symbiotes as well. When they asked which ones it was, Venom stated that he couldn't tell. The moment that symbiotes were in range, they were already using a prototype method of blocking the symbiote's ability to sense their own kind. It could he could tell that there were other symbiotes nearby, but he couldn't tell who they were. They continued until they were able to completely block the sense. After that, the class 1A and 1B were brought together, stating and were told a little bit about what was going on. They couldn't really keep it secret from their students that might be attacked in the future anymore. State and along with Aizawa walking up, not wearing his new suit, but now with a symbiote arm, begins to explain some things along with the other students and Midnight, who all have symbiotes, explaining that these are actually a form of alien life that bonds to people, giving them knowledge that they have the ability to enhance already powers that already exist in a person, as well as uh, allow them to somewhat copy the powers or quirks of a previous host to go onward to the next host. After that, they were all pretty shocked, and the students that had symbiotes got bombarded with questions. They stated that the symbiote that Aizawa currently has is the common link between a lot of them that are there, stating that Venom was the one that spawned anti-venom, Carnage, as well as multiple others, including Scream and Riot, who spawned Sickle that Ojiro has. They also, and Toga mentioned that Toxin was actually the spawn of Carnage. They began to freak out and worried about Toga, but Toga said that Toxin is more or less just go with the flow type of symbiote. Once that was fully explained, each of the symbiotes began to form ahead to talk to the students, introducing themselves and stating what power they have that's separate from their hosts. They're amazed but also shocked. Then Monoma asked, "So wait, spawn. What happens when the symbiote spawns?" They Venom states that when a symbiote is spawned, the spawn will have similar powers to the one that spawned it. Especially the powers that the symbiote that spawned it acquired from previous hosts, including knowledge as well. Though what they'll be like depends a lot on their first host that they bond with. And he also mentioned that in Carnage's case, the first person Carnage bonded to was a serial killer, which is why he's so crazed and mad. They begin to understand the severity of this and understanding that they're in some pretty big trouble if this kind of thing if people like that are going to be going after them. So they're reassured that they're going to survive because they're going to stick together and watch each other's backs. Though they agree with this sentiment, a good number of them are very uneasy. After that after that meeting, Aizawa Aizawa Pay and Midnight with their Venom and Payback symbiotes asked the students with their symbiotes to stay behind for additional talk. Once that happens, Venom comes out and starts talking. "Listen, given our current situation, we may require to do a purge on each of your symbiotes due to the fact that it hasn't been done to them." Payback emerges and asks, Are you sure? Such a procedure might be hard on them considering their age." Venom said, "Maybe, but these kids are quite strong. Their bodies have been strengthened by the symbiotes for a long time, so they should be able to go through it with a minimum of discomfort. If you can help me, and if they're willing, we can do this." Deku raised his hand, asking what exactly the purge was. Venom stated that the purge was something that could enhance a symbiote's abilities as well as cleanse any negative effects to the symbiote's psyche from past users. Though he stated that he might not be able to do it to anti-venom due to his powers. Though anti-venom popped out stating something that he found out but was keeping quiet about it just in case. He stated that due to the soul stone, it altered him to where he could control whether or not he destroys a symbiote from touch. He kept it a secret as best as long as he wanted to, thinking that it would be best not to tell any of the symbiotes, considering just in case he needed that information to trick them, like grab their face, causing the symbiote to panic and jump out of the person without actually attacking it. So basically trick it to abandon the host that it's using to cause chaos. Just Venom was glad about that, but Anti-Venom stated that if he tries anything funny that he will destroy him. Venom agreed. Once that happened, they began the purge with toxin. I mean, with starting with Anti-Venom, Payback, and Venom began the purge. Once it began, memories began to flow through their minds of both Izuku and anti-venom's memories. That he does have some copies of Flash's memories as well, since he was the one that first bonded to him and all that. But while that was going on, inside we see a darkness with a odd orange glow happening and burning bright. Izuku and uh, Anti-Venom's eyes begin to glow orange and start to shine. Once it was done, Deku asked if that was normal. Venom stated no, but due to some circumstances from Anti-Venom's past, it might have something to do with it. What exactly is different now? Anti-Venom covered up one of Izuku's arm and pointed at the wall, but this time saying that he was going to shoot some webbing. Though instead of extending himself this time, it actually produced webbing like the other symbiote from the Venom family. Deku was excited and asked, how is this possible? Anti-Venom Pop told him that it was most likely the combination of trace energy from the soul infinity stone combined with the process of the purge, making it, and with the one who more or less was the cause of my birth, to who was performing the purge. uh, Anti-Venom's somewhat tripping over his words a little bit, trying to understand it enough to explain it. But yeah, more or less, the three factors that allowed this were trace elements of the Infinity Stone. Uh, Venom was the one doing the purge, and the purge happening to Anti-Venom. He was excited and pumped that he didn't have to extend Anti-Venom to make more or less mismatched webbing anymore. Though, though there was still a bit of a limit on how much webbing he could use, which did bum him out. After that, they began the purge with all the other symbiotes. Once that was taken care of, Venom showed them something that they could do now. Venom went off of Izuku and formed an entire Venom body without a host. They were all surprised, and then Payback did the same. Venom stated that this is one of the boosts that you'll have now that you've gone through the purge. You can temporarily separate from your host, though there's a bit of a time limit. Depending on how complete the symbiosis is, will determine how long you can stay like this. Also, it will depend on how much you train for this ability in particular. So those with a stronger symbiosis, like Toga and Deku person with toxin and anti-venom, will have a shorter amount of time. But as a bonus effect of their perfect symbiosis, if they don't stay connected, if they stay unconnected for too long, not only will the host have negative side, not only the symbiote will have negative side effects, but the host as well. Normally with this, only the symbiote would have those side effects. But with a perfect symbiosis, Toga and Deku could potentially die if they separate for too long from their symbiotes. They were worried about that, but they tried it. Each of the symbiotes were able to form a complete symbiote body without a host, though quickly went back to their host after examining and checking out what they could do. Going back to their hosts, They were relieved and excited about their new ability and their new strength, and as well as a clearer mind that it seems that they found that the purge gives them. And we and on the next day, after the week of time off for the police to investigate, Aizawa meets up with the class, stating that they're going to be doing the sports festival, with everyone getting pumped up and excited. Venom then comes out of Aizawa, making a big head, yelling for them to be quiet. So Venom's acting like a freaking loudspeaker for Aizawa now in his class to keep them tame. And this is where we'll be ending this part of the What If. Sorry if my voice stuttered a little bit. Feeling slightly under the weather, but not that much. So thank you. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and hope you enjoy. As for any order in the what ifs that will be coming in the future, I do have a method planned, but I'll tell you that after I put out some certain what ifs. As for the next what if that's going to be coming out, it shall be what if Asta had Ultra Sans' power. Like I said before, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed. Ring that notification bell. Thanks for the 1,000 subs. And go look at my community tab for the future what ifs that I'll be uploading after what if Asta had Ultra Sans' powers. So, have a good night, everybody. See ya.